Hello again. The thumbnail to this video shows an image taken from an East London local newspaper group which covered Waltham Forest, Leytonstone, Woodford and Wanstead, among other areas. In the description to this video, I give a link to the news item concerning this image. I mention this because it was not I who selected those four villainous-looking individuals. It will be immediately apparent that all of them are black, but they were not chosen for that reason, but rather because they had all been sent to prison in February for violent crimes committed in East London. Of course, it may be objected that the fact that all four of them are black is simply a reflection of the capital's changing demography. Since white people are now in a minority in London, it surely stands to reason that they would also be a minority as far as criminal activity was concerned. This is plausible, but it doesn't really stand up when examined. These are not ordinary crimes of the kind which white criminals would be likely to carry out. The nature of these offences tells us something about the kind of people who committed them. Let's have a look at them. The person in the image on the lower left is, contrary to appearances, a woman. She is 35-year-old Gloria Macanjuala, who lives in Ilford, and she was sent to prison for a very brutal mugging. Although most muggers today are black, mugging has been around in this country for hundreds of years, of course. Even the expression mugging was being used in Britain since at least the 1860s. The Americans picked up the term from us, not the other way round. But that sort of thing, street robbery with violence, was always a young man's crime, and an uncommon one at that. Mugging was not really something that we saw very often in Britain before there were a large number of black people living in the country. What distinguishes Gloria Macanjuala is firstly her gender, and secondly her age. Women muggers have always been very rare, and women muggers on the verge of middle age are almost unheard of. The man next to her is Reynald Fashanti, who hacked a man to death in the street after a squabble over a woman. I have remarked before that street stabbings of this kind between strangers were, until large-scale immigration, very rare in this country. Almost all murders in Britain were domestic crimes committed between family and friends, and they took place indoors. The young man in the top left has already killed a man in a row over a jacket. Once in prison, he attacked some prison officers. The other man attacked police officers at Stratford Station. All these four people are violent. Two of them are killers. Their crimes are unusual, and even describing them without the pictures, you could guess at once it's more likely than not that they were carried out by black people. I'm not saying anything startlingly novel here, of course. Most people have noticed this very thing, but it is thought impolite or indelicate to talk about it. I don't see this personally. I see no reason at all to avoid mentioning it. Let's face it, we all know perfectly well that the more violent or vicious or bizarre a crime is, then the more likely it is that it will turn out to be the work of a foreigner or an immigrant. We all know that 35-year-old women did not mug men on tube trains at one time, and yet now it is happening. In the same way, we know that there was a time in London when men were not stabbing each other up in the street because they had rowed over a girl, nor did they kill each other because one of them had a jacket which the other wanted. The change has been wrought by the immigration of large numbers of people of sub-Saharan ancestry, and about that there is not the least doubt. This is a diagnosis, but what the remedy might be, I have not the slightest idea.